First reason that I like to use a leash sometimes when Obi's in the backyard is because he tends to find things to eat. And some things are pretty harmless, like rabbit poop or deer poop. Other things I don't really want him eating, such as if he found a dead animal or something like that. So having a leash really helps me, or forces me actually, to be there and supervise him as he's walking around the yard. And of course you could do this without a leash too, just by walking out in your backyard and keeping an eye on your dog. So I do recommend at least supervising your dog in some way, shape, or form, just because there are some things out in my backyard that I might not know that he was eating unless I had been watching him closely. Now with having a leash on him, I can not just supervise him, but also prevent him. So for example, if he was going towards something, so he's sniffing over there, and if he was looking like he was going to eat something he shouldn't, I could just call him back to me. Obi, come here. And I could give him just a gentle pull on the leash and lead him back to me. Good boy. And prevent him from getting whatever he could have been about to get to. This can be especially helpful for dogs who tend to eat their own poop or other animals' poop. And this can be a very difficult behavior to treat because it's what we would call a self-reinforcing behavior. Eating poop is just very rewarding to them. So the best way to go about nipping this in the bud is just to manage and prevent your dog from eating their own poop in the first place. So having them on leash allows you to keep them away from those areas of the yard where you know they like to eliminate. Another time I tend to use the leash is when I'm on a time crunch and I have to be somewhere by a certain time. So I just let Obi out on the leash real quick, just for a potty break. And then the leash allows me to bring him back in so that he's not wandering, chasing rabbits, things like that. So this is a nice option when you're in situations like that. Of course, please do make sure that you are providing your dog with adequate exercise and stimulation outside of those potty breaks. I also like to use the leash from time to time just for training in the backyard. So especially, this is a great way to up your training game if your dog has mastered their cues indoors. The next step would be to try them out outdoors and see if they can handle all the distractions. Because ideally, we want our dogs to practice in all sorts of environments, not just in the house. That way they listen to us in all different environments, not just in the house. But it can be a challenge, so that's where the leash comes in handy, because if your dog is easily distracted by the smells or the sights or the sounds of the outdoors, then you can kind of help them to stay near you and to stay more focused on you than if they had free rein and could go anywhere they wanted. Now, if you are going to practice obedience outside, you want to set your dog up for success. So I would recommend having them run around the yard and just get any pent-up energy out first. Make sure you're playing with them. That way they're in a more focused mood and their exercise needs are being met. So, but as long as he's run around, which he has, we can practice some cues like lie down. Good boy. And this is especially good for things like stay and recall as well. So if your dog has trouble staying, keep them on a short leash like this. Only go 1 or 2 steps, if that, away from them, and reward. That was really good. I didn't even officially give you the cue and you stayed. Lie down. Good. Stay. So you just do that. Okay. And give them the cue that it's okay to be released. And if your dog is a little bit distracted and they end up getting up, again, the leash is good where you can bring them back to their spot, set them back up, and have them try again. Good boy. Sit. Good. Stay. So you can practice going around them. Very good. Okay. Good job. Good job. And you can also, once they've mastered staying and all of those cues on a short leash, you can practice on a long lead as well to increase that distance and make things even more challenging. Good boy. Stay. Okay, come. Good boy. Very, very good. Sit. Good. Stay. Okay, come. Good job, puppy. Good boy. Very, very good. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. That's very good. Another thing, now this kind of goes under training, but I thought it was important enough to set it apart a little bit, would be using a leash in the backyard for leash training. So if your dog tends to pull when they're out on a walk on leash, maybe you can try practicing with them in the backyard and see how they do on leash there. Because see, if they're not able to behave well on leash in a familiar environment like their backyard, then you can't really expect them to do well on leash out in an exciting, changing environment like the dog park or your neighborhood. So you can just practice walking around in the backyard, either during a potty break or just to practice on a nice day. Here, puppy. You're in training mode, aren't you? Come here. Very good. So you can just practice walking around. And again, having them on leash helps them to stay by your side a little bit better than if they were on leash. So you can practice some focusing as well. Look, good job, yes. Look, good boy. Even getting your dog to focus on you when they're on leash is a huge milestone and can really be an important skill for your dog, especially when they're out and about with you. First, when all is said and done, as long as your yard is fenced in and there are no hazards around that you're aware of, I think it's equally important to allow your dog some time to roam off leash and just be free and be a dog. So that's exactly what we're going to do now. Thanks for watching. I hope this helped.